Welcome to another episode on this segment on Daybreak Africa. I am Angela Daku, and today we'll be talking about human trafficking, an international organized crime constituting modern slavery. Well, with me to discuss this today is a lecturer from the History Department in Adeyemi Federal University of Education in Ondo State. Well, his name is Deji Abiona. Thank you so much for joining me on this program,
Thank
sir.
you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, sir. So going straight to the business of the day, sir, how would you explain human trafficking?
Yeah, human trafficking is, I can call it an umbrella word that describes, the whole gamut of the process involved in movement, illegal movement of people from one place to another, for the purpose of exploitation, basically. Right? Though it doesn't usually involve movement, but it has to do with, dealing with all the different levels of that exploitation, either holding, acquisition of people, the exploitation, the destination, all those different levels. In the process, the umbrella word for all of that is human trafficking. Yeah.
Okay. Now, according to your definition, you mentioned exploitation.
Yes.
What would you say about the exploitation in it?
Well, it's just like syndicates. They are economically oriented. That's what they are created for.
Okay.
Okay. So, and the people involved in this business, this illegal business, they are there just to get the money. All right. They're there for the economic gains. All right. And so they want to see how they can exploit people and make use of human beings, all right, for their own economic benefits, all right, in a way that is illegal, all right. So they get people to work for them in whatever capacity, of course it's forced labor, of course, to work for them so that the returns of their labor in whatever way, accrues to them and to them alone, irrespective of what the law says about the presence of such persons in that particular place, irrespective of what the other person, the exploited, feels, all right, about the whole business. So the exploited is not put into consideration, all right. So the entirety of the gains of that venture is for the people who are involved, not the victims now, the people who plan and execute the trafficking.
Okay. We realize that poverty is one of the major causes why people become victims of human trafficking, sir. So what other causes could you say?
Yes, poverty is a major, it's like the chief reason, all right? But we also have, some other factors that support or that could join with poverty to make it a very lucrative business for those who embark on it or those who participate in it. So aside from poverty, there are also other things. For example, mass displacement of people. People who are displaced are more prone to being trafficked because they don't have a base, they don't have a home, they're poor, that's poverty comes in, they're disoriented, so they become easy catch. They become easy victims of those who are of human traffickers. All right. So aside from displacement, we also corruption in the land. If there are laws and strong enforcement of laws, if there were borders that are well monitored, that would reduce the incidences of human trafficking. So aside from poverty, corruption in the land, displacement of people, violence, war. These are all the things that come together with poverty, of course, to make trafficking a lucrative business for those who engage in it.
What you just said, sir, you mentioned the government having a serious law holding the people so that this incident do not occur. Applying this to Nigeria, Would you say Nigeria does not have a serious law holding this?
Nigeria does, just like most countries in the world do. Nigeria does. Nigeria has a dedicated agency to these social and international crime, actually. NAPTIP is the organization that is saddled with the responsibility of, ensuring that people are not trafficked or militating against trafficking in persons. All right, so the laws are there. The laws are there. The agencies are there. But the issue we have is usually, trying to enforce, these laws, implementation of these laws, ensuring that, the rightful atmosphere or the right atmosphere is created so that these laws can, be put in place. And, it's not just about the laws, really, a good number of people are just interested in, it's a game of tact for the traffickers, actually. So even though the laws are there are ways that the people, the traffickers, embark on their business that makes it difficult now for the law to actually do what it's meant to do. For example, someone that has been trafficked oftentimes may not know that they are being trafficked. Okay, so at times they lure them, with promises. When you get there, this is what you will, you have a good job to yourself. Someone who has been in poverty, they want to break free from, the hold of poverty, and when they hear those promises, they are more compliant now. If they were not compliant, if they knew the purpose for which they were being trafficked, it would have been a more difficult job for the traffickers, all right? So oftentimes they are not in the know of what they are going there to do. All right, so it is when they get to their destinations now that they now see how stranded and how much they are at the mercy of the person who facilitated their movement. Okay, so while the laws are there are also a number of things that are militating against the laws. And since it is oftentimes it's an international crime, most of the time it could be domestic. People could be trafficked within the borders of their communities or within the borders of the nation, but most of the time it is international. All right, it involves people moving from one country to another. So that makes it the responsibility of the international community to guard against such international crimes. Okay, so what I'm saying is that one nation or one country may not be able to adequately fight against trafficking. So it should involve, the contribution of efforts of the international community.
Okay. So in a situation where a person is not forced into it, more like the person gives his consent into going into the trafficking, how would you address such situation? Would you still call it a crime?
Yes, like I said earlier, most of the time, people who are being trafficked do not know that they are being trafficked. Oftentimes they are lured by promises of, greener pastures, better opportunities, better livelihood. And you say, when we talked about the factors that cause people to be trafficked or the reasons for trafficking, we mentioned poverty, and those are, circumstances that are not palatable. Right, so everybody wants to leave behind, a situation, circumstance that does not favor them, and when there's a promise of a better place, so they want to go there. All right, so oftentimes, people who have been trafficked are not in the know. For example, now, some years ago, there's a particular a particular state in Nigeria, is actually known for moving girls, outside to a particular country outside the world, outside Nigeria. And why do they go there? Why they go there? Because they get promised. In fact, some of these people are even trafficked by people they know. All right, relatives, friends, people they're familiar with. Okay, so it is when they now get to the destination that they now see that the story is different from what they were told.
Although sometimes some of these people are aware of what they are going into, especially the ladies. Some will be like, okay, it's just giving my body. So some are willing to go into it.
Well, I don't. Well, it's that is possible, but majority of people do not know. Now, if those that you talk about that are in the know, they're going there for what? Why do you think they're going there? They're going there for economic benefits. They feel, okay, if I go there and I'm doing this, then I get paid. All right? I mean, that's the reason they would agree to, even if they're in the know. That's the only reason they would agree to that kind of venture. But in the end, when they get there, trafficked people don't get paid. They get used from the beginning till the end, because the people who trafficked them want the economic benefit. In fact, some of them are even given, passports, travel documents to travel legally, or even at times they're given fake documents, all right, to ensure that they pass the borders. All right, on getting to that, on their destination, they collect those documents from them, and so oftentimes they are stranded. They have nowhere to go. They don't have papers, so they are at the mercy of the people who brought them. So whatever those ones tell them to do, they have no choice but to do it. So it is a different than if they know that they're going there to prostitute and to get money. But trafficked people don't get paid when they get to their destinations.
Okay, from the latest Global Slavery Index in 2018, Nigeria was termed 32 out of 167 of the countries with highest number of slaves. Now, what are the governments doing to reduce this number? Although we're in 2022, they might have done some things to help eradicate the issue, but it's still going on.
Yes, well, in the government is actually active doing what they feel that they can do. I'm not in the government, but I know that, like for example, I mentioned that there's an agency that's actively, campaigning. And one of the things that you can do in situations like this, crimes like this, social crimes like this, the main thing that the government can do is, to create awareness actively, to create awareness such that people know, people see the signs, when it's coming, people see the signs, and to orient people to not be overly, attracted to, promises of better places outside the country without having something tangible that they're going there to do. Do you understand? All right. So awareness, in the place of awareness, surely I believe the government is trying to ensure that people are in the know. Education is very important. So when people are educated, they can, they are equipped to fight against such things when it rises.
Although there are some kind of situations whereby victims find themselves, they might see the opportunity to run, but they can't. Why is this?
Yes, I think I mentioned that in the last thing I said. They cannot run because, one, oftentimes, especially when they're outside their countries of birth, all right, for someone who is trafficked outside of Nigeria to another country, maybe Europe, for example, or Libya, or somewhere in the Middle East, they are far from home. Aside from far that they're far from home, but they don't have travel documents. They are in that country illegally. Do you understand? And so, and some traffickers, take the game to a certain level such that, they tell them if you run away, they threaten them. If you run away, I know where your family lives, that kind of thing. So there's this emotional blackmail. It's a psychological game also for the traffickers. They will find a way to ensure that, they keep them. At times, it's sweet words, they just try to work on their emotions and all of that. And those who actually want to leave, they cannot really go because they don't have the documents. They're afraid. They're in a totally different climb than they were used to. So that kind of keep them in servitude.
Although there was a news one time in 2018, a statement, Julie Okadonli, who was a Nigerian lawyer and also the former Director General for NAPTIB, rather. So she said they were going to align with native doctors to eradicate the crime. So what business do native doctors have with eradicating the crime? Why do you think she made that statement?
Well, maybe, I don't know why she would make such a statement, but she probably made it in desperation.
But there was a situation where, okay, I think she explained a reason why she did. She said most of the time people go to them to seek for charms and all of that. So although they do not tell them why they are collecting the charm, they just want the native doctors to give them charms that will make people loyal to them. Okay. So according to her, they went into investigations, meeting them and asking them the reason why they do this. And they said they were not on the know that people come to them to get charms in order to carry on with human trafficking.
Okay, so
they only ask for loyalty.
Okay, so the victims are loyal to them.
Exactly.
To the traffickers.
Yeah.
Well, if that is a measure, that's laughable actually. That cannot be a measure that a nation would take against traffic. I know that you explore all the avenues, but it's not a tenable measure against trafficking. I mean, anywhere in the world. Even if you are going to use that, you shouldn't come to the media to say that. All right. So.
Okay. Are there any legal provision made for compensation for victims?
Compensation? Yeah. Not that I know of. There are a lot of crimes in Nigeria and the world, and the victims usually don't get compensated. Oftentimes, it's justice that compensates for the crimes committed by people like traffickers. All right? So when they bring them to justice, I think that's all the compensation that the people, because it's not the government that facilitated their movement or their exploitation in the first place. Yeah. Do you understand? So the idea of compensation, I don't think it comes in at all. But justice, if the people who are involved in this crime are caught, nabbed, and they're brought to book, then I think that's enough compensation for the victims of the crime. Okay,
let me explain further when I mean compensation. Right. You discover that many of these victims are more like they pass through psychological disorders and all of that. They are affected emotionally. Yes. Is there any measures the government take to help out with
yes,
this?
in that case, of course, yes. Of course, yes. The National Emergency Management Agency, working with NAPTIP, they try to, repatriate people if they can get them. Those who are stranded abroad, trafficked victims, or trafficked people, victims of trafficking, are also considered, within the purview of NEMA and NAPTIP. All right. So when they come, of course, they know that they have been psychologically brutalized, right, traumatized. So they come, they arrange a psychological, rehabilitation programs for them, so that they can be, infused back into the society. Okay, because it can be a very telling experience on people who are trafficked.
Well, lastly, I would like to ask, we know that girls are majorly targeted, like people in the society. So what would be your advice to the audience?
Yes, girls they're more than half of trafficked people in the world. And that's because, sexual trafficking is the major reason why people get trafficked. People get trafficked for a lot of reasons. Okay. But the sexual aspect of it, for sexual exploitation, takes the lion's share of, the reasons people get trafficked. Yes, well, like I said earlier, it's a matter of education. It's a matter of education. Ladies need to be aware. They need to come into the know, about these things. What you're kind of, bigger than. When you have knowledge, then you are equipped. Now that's the importance of education. These things need to be taught in schools. We try as much as possible to teach them in our classes for people not to get carried away, by empty promises, false promises. Okay, so girls should understand that they have all it takes to make it anywhere they are in the world. They should believe in themselves, all right? And they have role models all over, in Nigeria, outside of Nigeria, women who have broken through, the restrictions of society to become important people. All right, so they should make those people their role models rather than fall for scams, and empty promises that can lure them into a situation where they'll be psychologically traumatized for the rest of their lives. All right. So.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, sir.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being
So
here.
we have come to the end of this discourse for today. Till we meet again, I remain Angela Daku.